Okay, hello everyone and welcome. I'm Jeneth Plackard,
And I'm Lyanca.
and this is the Hot Hustle Morning Show. Today we're talking about how to change the subconscious mind. And in a previous episode, we went in deep on how I was like, we're taught in this reality to really work on our outer world, right? We
Hmm.
learn to brush our teeth, do our hair, do our makeup, look good so that we fit in to this reality. And I'm getting still getting the feedback. My just shutting everything down. Now explain exactly why that. Okay. And so in doing that, in being taught from when we were a baby to work on this outer body, we're never actually taught to work on our inner, right? How we think and how many of the thoughts that we have aren't even ours.
Right.
And so this is going to be a conversation on how would one practice and work on that internal landscape. And we're going to do a series of these, by the way, you guys. And we
So
will,
you get to be part of
so you get to be a part of like the
learning
course.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I came up with this yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, I really just want a course where they are going to, have a system of moving forward that's also playful, where they get to interact and they get to ask questions and we get to do all this live. But then they have a method and a practice so that we can work on our internal bodies and not just focus on our external world. And some of the things with this work, and as the more I found that I can have these moments of instant manifestation, I mean, just like instantly like create something that I'm like, oh, wow, I actually created that because I fixated on it so much on my internal imagination that it was almost like I already had it and I already had the feelings and everything. And we've talked about a few of those on the show.
Yeah.
And I did a little research about this yesterday. And did you know, like, there are so many different studies on this. And one of the studies that I read was these pianists, like, they knew how to play the piano clearly before they did this trial. But the people that went in their head to just imagine playing the
Oh,
song
yeah.
did just as well in their performance as the people that actually practiced with their fingers.
So they had people that were in the study, they had people that were imagining that they were playing the piano, and then
Right.
they had versus the people that were actually playing the piano.
Right.
And however they measured it, they realized that the people that were actually playing did just as well. I think it was
Or
the same.
better.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And I also heard the same study that they received the same results for people that,
lifted weights in their
yes,
mind.
yes, right?
They
So
had like 30% more strength by lifting weights
in
their
their mind.
mind.
Are y'all hearing this?
Like literally talking
Let's get
about
fit, y'all.
Yeah. We just need to imagine ourselves like the perfect body and get so much in gratitude and love of that, then we've changed our mind. Yeah. And I guess the bigger question is, well, how do we do this, right?
Yeah.
How do we do this, Lyanca?
So, yeah, that's a great question. That is a great question. And I think one of the things that I was realizing this morning as I was coming into knowing what we were going to talk about, I get to the mirror and I think it's incremental, right? I think it's a daily.
Well, I think it depends on the person, but I like that.
Okay,
setting that expectation that it's incremental.
I do think it does depend on each person. I really do agree with that. For me, sometimes it can be a little bit of a stretch to um, see myself in a perfect body, right? However, through this work, I have started to recondition my mind to see myself in the view that I would like to see myself rather than the view of what, lines or, anything like that. Of course, I'm not showing up because it's great touch up, filter or whatnot, because Zoom has that cool thing. But if you look in the mirror and I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, getting the lines, or I'm
The
like,
trout mouth.
right? That I don't want to say the smoker's lips, but like the one where you do the straw and whatnot. But anyway, so of course it's like I got to the mirror and I was like, oh, and I have like hereditary like bags kind of thing. And so I'm always putting a lot of stuff. I'm always putting a lot of like cream to try to whatever. My point being is that those things were just trying to jump at me first. And my mind was going, rah, 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 right? I haven't even loved on myself yet. I just got to the mirror and I'm already tearing Lee apart. So I believe for me, to even get to that point where I'm manifesting the perfect body, I have to sit there and say, and this is actually because, the reminder was because we were having the conversation today. I go, Lee, you better stop. You better knock that off right now. You start seeing yourself in that mirror and as a different person. So I'm like, I look good, right? Like, so I just like have this and I sang a little funny song to myself and I made myself feel better. And I realized that it is those incremental things or that ability to just stop it right there and change the script. Right? To flip that script really quick because it's easy to spiral. And if I'm doing that on a daily basis, doing the negative, I'm absolutely creating that. Yeah. Because we're master creators. If those people can sit there and create muscles by not lifting a weight, if they're doing that in their mind, imagine what I'm doing to my face just by tearing it apart. First thing I do in the morning. Yeah. So stopping that and changing that narrative, I knew that even if it's just a little bit every day, just making sure that I had that awareness. So there you go. Okay, we're done here, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that is catching, like being the catcher of the crap. Oh, let's name it that.
Yeah.
We'll just right here, right now. First thing is be the catcher of the crap.
Right.
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 Because I remember in my 20s when I would go to the bathroom almost every single time. I would be like, ugh, I just have this extra little pooch, and I would just be like, nah, about it. And I finally caught that.
Good.
I was the catcher of the thought.
Right.
Right.
And just put that out to the curb.
Yeah, that. I don't need to be making myself feel worse about things.
No.
And okay, so what is the deal with making yourself feel awful about something so that you actually will change it? Do we really have to go into that much pain and that much fire to actually say, no, this is not okay? It's not okay to judge my body, my face, my belly fat, my wings. What if those wings are there so I really can fly?
Well, and to take that a step further, yes, there's a gift, but if we're saying that people are creating muscles by their
thoughts
alone, then now, and that's proven science, then now we can even bridge that gap in our brains and say, okay, I now have a reason for loving and seeing myself, skinnier, healthier, stronger, whatever, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, I did the same thing for a long time. It took me forever to lose the baby weight. My son is 12. I can't even call him baby weight anymore. He's like preteen. But it's true. And I know that I am the reason why it stayed on me for so long was because all I could see, I probably was looking pretty lean comparatively, but all I could see was that I wasn't where I was before. Yeah. And so all I could see was a chubby face Lee. And so then of course I recreated. So instead, because I was learning this work, I had to see myself. I'm like, don't do that. And I just took little incremental steps.
Yeah.
Like, I do squat. I mean, of course I move my body, but like I do squats every day.
But you're inspired to do that
Yeah, because I know it's going to
by
change
holding a
things.
vision around
That's
it.
true. That is true. And I did see that it worked. So
Yeah.
if y'all want to know, I do 25 squats every time I go to the bathroom. So by the end of the day, you're like up to like, 200, right? Or I break them down to 10
Wondering
even.
why you were in the bathroom so long.
So, and then but after I saw my legs and my like booty
Yeah.
started like lifting, I was like, all right,
This is working.
And so even on vacation, I was like, I heard my little voice go, I don't want to do it. And then I heard, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I'm like, oh, fine.
Do you have to go in the handicapped bathroom to do that? So you've got room, or do you just go in a regular stall?
I might trim those down to 10. They're kind of like
The
halfway
narrow
ones.
squats.
Yeah, they're halfway ones. But because I held the vision and knew that I could create change just by just adding that one extra thing, I then felt like, okay, I started to see results. And then once I started to see results, then it was like super inspiring and I was able to change other things. And really, I mean, I think for me, it's about stopping that naughty part of my head. I don't want to say it's naughty because we have free will, but it's stopping that like runaway train saying, I'm just going to have a saggy booty forever, right? Like, I mean, for real, like it was there for a long, long time. And then I just did other things to compound it and make it even more worse, right? Like the extra eating or feeling bad or even drinking, that kind of thing, that only compounded it. So there you go. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I mean, that's a real world example. For me, I feel like I've been, I just feel like to get the show up and running, I really had to hit a mindset where I was so locked in on it that there was no going back almost.
Yeah, Sherry
Right.
says, we're taught to believe that that all of that is just a normal part of aging. And I know there are a lot of people on the line that yes, like we're just supposed to just like accept it.
Accept it. Yeah. Like that is the collective. Like, why would we think it'd be anything else?
Y'all, my grandma is so funny. She has no filter, right? And she has no filter. And I love her to death. She's so fun. But one day I walked in and she's like, you don't wear makeup anymore? I'm like, all right, grandma. And that's just her with no filter. So then to Shara's point, my grandma told my aunt, who's not that much older than me, we're kind of like sisters because I was raised by my grandma. And she goes, oh, your old body came in. I'm like, oh, grandma.
Oh my God.
Talk about like instill. She didn't mean it like that. Like, and my aunt was laughing. She's like, Grandma, she's like, Mother, and so we're dying laughing, like, God, she has no filter. But talk about those are little things that we kind of laugh off. Then we make our mind goes, oh, I guess why I am aging, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is, just, the things that come with aging, whatever those signs are. And so then even our parents can instill that into us. And although we were laughing it off, those are things that are running that programming.
Did you see that movie? It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin back in the day. It was so funny. They had gotten divorced.
I can't believe I said that about my grandma, y'all. She's amazing. She has no filter.
I mean, I don't know. There's some innocence around that.
It is.
Anyway, in this movie, Meryl Streep, I mean, I think Alec Baldwin's supposed to be like, 58 or something. This is like probably 11 years ago. And, they just got divorced and then they were showing up for their son's graduation and they ended up sitting at the bar single together, although he was remarried. And so they ended up dancing and then they had, a night alone. And next thing you know, like she's getting up out of the bed, like throwing up because they had been drinking all night.
Okay.
And she's like grabbing these pillows to like hide her body and she made it to the bathroom. And he's like, I've seen it, honey. And she's like, you saw it when I was 40. I don't know, and I think that's so much of the collective that we almost don't question it from an age perspective.
Right. That we even, put it into our movies, into our things. And then now to find that science is sitting there saying, wait, you can change things with your thoughts. Like, wow, y'all, like that's the keys to the universe if you really think about it. Like, I mean,
I was reading this one article where there's like back where your limbic brain system attaches to your brainstem, right? That is where you breathe. That is how your heart beats. Like all of these things happen automatically. Well, your subconscious mind is like right over that, like touching that. So it was almost like, why wouldn't we, when we can reach the subconscious brain with these messages, why, of course, then it would just automatically create through us, almost as if breathing or your heart moving.
Damn, that's taking it to an even bigger step forward, right?
Like, you're automatically set up to do squats now because you just have it so deep inside that you want.
That's so deep inside. But I do know what my vision is, and I do know that it creates.
I'm not doing that.
That's, yeah.
I've been doing it. I don't want it as much as you. I don't care as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I do care about is creating a better life for myself, one with more travel, one with a lot more freedom and fun and play and people. I think that we mentioned there would be a live event sometime hosted by Hot Hustle in the fall. So, I mean, I want these things. It's just a matter of, I can get really on board with that one. But I'm not so much getting on board with doing like 25 squats, like
every time about it,
like 12 times a day. And for one, my body won't really allow that.
That's true. But the thing is that you're right. It comes down to what is my vision and how am I breaking that down to approach it. So let's take this a little bit deeper for people. Why is this so groundbreaking? Like,
well, I don't think it's as groundbreaking. I think it's just that quantum physics has caught up with.
And that's what I wanted you to share.
So the information that we now have, we see that the science of our brain actually will allow this to happen. Like this is neuroplasticity, which, they've talked about for years, but now they're taking it to a whole new level where not only is this neuroplasticity, like just in our bodies, in our brains, but with the pineal gland, we can actually reach outside of us and get other possibilities from the field. It's like picking apples, which kind of apple you really want. And I think that when I got that, so it's literally a frequency like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Like we don't see Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but this is literally a frequency that is, is for us to intake. That didn't mean you needed to use Wi-Fi.
No, that's fine. And to your point, I read this as a little meme today from Jordan Flesher. It said, it posted a little meme. It just said, just like how Instagram has its own algorithm and shows you more of what you're interested in, the entire universe also has an algorithm and shows you more of what you're thinking, feeling, and focusing on. That is collapsing waveform to create matter. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about quantum physics using our thoughts as the observer to collapse waveform into creating matter. My matter just happens to be on my booty, but I don't want to make it so superficial. But that's, that is how if I would have known I could have been doing this all in
your mind, or you could do it in your mind now, and you're going to have this Kardashian booty.
Oh my God, y'all.
We'll try that. Visualize ourselves as a Kardashian.
Oh, yeah. With a lot more money mystic going on. And thank you for the comment. Someone said that they noticed that I had lost a little bit of lbs from the last time. And that's also a combination of just balancing my hormones too. But I also, again, I stopped doing that negative self-talk right in the morning.
That's catching that.
It's like you almost want to, somebody said, like, you almost want to talk to yourself like you would a 3-year-old, right? You wouldn't go and just say, oh, golly, look at those wrinkles.
You mean, you wish me your grandma?
My grandma, I love her. And, or you wouldn't be like, what do you think? You can put on more moisturizer to get that out today? No, I don't think so, right? Like, you wouldn't just be like, oh, look,
Like, why would, if you're saying that to yourself, like, why, why would you say that? Like, you wouldn't say it to another person.
No,
You only say it to yourself unless you're your grandma. No, just
yeah,
kidding.
right.
And that wasn't meant as, it just was, it is what it is kind of thing.
She's
For-
funny.
yeah.
She's so funny. And she's, I mean, she's not, she just doesn't have filter anymore. But the thing is that, yes, it's like talking to myself without the filter, right? It's
Yeah.
like, why would I not sit there and like, I don't want to say the word regulate, but love on myself. Like, the first minutes of the day, I'm already going to beat myself up and then expect myself to go out and conquer the world. Like, no way is that going to happen if I keep going that path. And of course, I kept, the extra 50 pounds on for so long.
Yeah.
And I know I'm bringing it back to weight, but it's just a physical thing that I can,
Well, that's it. Yeah.
it's a
physical.
relatable physical thing.
And one of the things that I'm trying to work on is healing this leg.
Mhm.
And it's getting there. I mean, I
Mhm.
can tell there's changes,
Mhm.
but the jury's still out. Dare I say that? Because that means that I'm not hooked in with 100% certainty and 100% confidence, 100% gratitude of it being healed. So I guess the question then becomes, okay, we do catch our thoughts, right? But we also have like what ton of them all day long. So some of them slip by because we get caught in that unpresent moment when we're just thinking about tomorrow or thinking about the past or something like that. And we get caught not in the present moment. And those thoughts like accidentally come through.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then what? What do we need to do? And I think we need to change the entire, vibe around it.
Okay, so
And
like, go
yeah.
ahead. I was like, do you have a couple clearings that you do?
No,
If we're
yeah,
going to give practical tools,
I know.
what are those things that you use? I know
Yeah.
a couple.
Well, I think that even the vibe of when you're just in a mood,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Where you're like, I'm just in this mood. There's no reason for this
mhm. I
mood,
had one of those.
right?
Uh-huh.
What do we do to unhook those
Okay.
moods?
Okay. Who here has had a mood? I mean, I know there's,
That was unrelated to anything.
Yeah.
Or then maybe you'll try to force it to be related to something,
right.
right? Like, God, I'm saying like a lot today.
It's all right. I mean, just to give you an idea. Now, if somebody's going to tell me right now, we're doing the solstice, right? Like we're the solstice and we have like lots of energies. And of course, we had that big influx of energies in May. And it was this biggest, I wouldn't say the quarantine event, but like, it's probably the largest in the last 25 years. Now, I also saw a meme the other day that somebody said, if I see another post about the karmic moon, I'm gonna like throw up or throw a fit. It was so funny because it was like every time there's another full moon, it's always like, oh, it's the karmic full moon and we're bringing up old energies. And I'm like, we are. Like, but I mean, it feels like we've been doing this for like every time there's a new one, right? Like, I mean, give me some new information, Mrs. Astrologer person, right? So I'm going to read something to you, and it does, yes, give you a little bit of reprieve to understand what's going on in the world. And I want to bring that back to, are you feeling some type of way and you don't know why? And not that it's an excuse to feel some type of way, but just so that you know, and then that way we can talk about how you can shut it down.
I think the collective is one of the things that we
Yes.
can clear to separate from. And I do think that there's a few clearings to clear that.
Mhm. Actually, there was a thing I saw yesterday, it was on the news, and we have that heat dome. A lot of people are in hot weather, and it says that, people will lose their words. They use less words when it's hot. There's a lot more violence. And so there was a lot of memes and jokes about that, going on. But there is studies to show that during a peak solar cycle, which we are in one of the biggest, there is more unrest in the world. And I mean, those are all, scientifically proven. So I'm going to go into like the mystic form here real quick. There's so much energy surging through us right now. Grounding. So it talks about grounding. Grounding has never been so more important. It used to be a fluffy concept to this person. It's Quantum Ascension 444. Says, I love in nature, but last few days with this full moon and solstice energy, I can feel the energy overload on my body. And when I put my bare feet on the ground, I can feel energy surging through my body from my feet and into the ground. Basically, it's saying that, some of us are lightning rods, and we're here to assist the transference of higher energies into this realm. Be the lemon water and help your body become the divine battery energy transference vessel it needs to be. So again, doing that grounding exercise. But the truth is here, and the point for even reading that was that it's not just you. Like, I woke up feeling all kinds of weird, and I did not even have a reason why. Like, I don't have nobody. I didn't even, I didn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I just was grumpy. And I didn't. No, I won't. I'm back that up. I felt antsy, and the antsy came with a pain, like a pain in my heart. Now I know, and I'm starting to learn how it feels in my body, like all of this extra energies, or like this tension, or this, I don't know why I don't feel good kind of thing. And so I've learned to like really open my heart, and I'll just start to like, just really be open, and I can feel my chest open. But this again is just because that's one of my tools that I use. So with that said, going back to, what do we do when we're not feeling right? And when the world is giving you, when the universe is giving you all this extra energy to even lightning rod.
And I want to get to rehearsing too.
Sure.
But I do think to even rehearse, you've got to get cleared out from all that crap. So there's so many different energies, you guys, and I've talked about these before. We've got entities that can like come in and bother us. We've got these earth energies that are happening from solar flares that can come in and disrupt, and literally they disrupt chemically. We have EMFs that can disrupt us. We can actually have like a low level illness and / immune system that can affect us. And we can have situational things that affect us. My son is 27 and has lived here right near us, and now he's moving across the country. And I tell you, that little situation has kind of made me a little emo, for the lack of a better word.
Oh, of course, Mama.
And so we have these things. And of course, the situational ones are probably the easiest ones to look at from a processing standpoint. But I feel like to even get to that, maybe we need to clear all the other things to get there. So let's just go through like all of these real quick. Would that be fun for you guys? The butterfly effect.
I saw that. Thanks for intellecting.
So entities. It's I take this from Access Consciousness as a simple clearing, but it's the best one that I've ever used. And I think you can probably just go, entity be gone. and it probably works about the same, but it's basically first asking your body, asking yourself, so how many entities do I have in and around my body that are affecting me? If you want to add that.
So whatever number just pops in your head.
So okay, there was a number. Okay, entities. Of all these entities, is one of these entities me? You can ask that, and sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. Then just all the entities. Okay, so entities, what's your job here with me? What was your job before that? What was your job before that? What will your job be in the future? Please take all your magnetic blueprinting and leave now. Let go. And take a breath. And then you should probably feel more space or more in your body because you're all there. So
and you can run it a couple of times too, if you need to.
Yeah. So that would be the first place to start, is to be like, okay, do I have some entities affecting me right now? And just clear them out. The second one that I like to use is simply by looking at the patterns going in my life. So how
That's a
many
good one.
algorithms, do I have? So all the algorithms is creating this mood or this sadness or this depression or whatever you want to label
The
it, right?
unexplained heaviness
That
for us.
unexplained.
Shara. Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And do that a few times. So just how many algorithms do I have creating this? Then just to throw everything down the rabbit trail, flip everything upside down by everything's opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing's the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything's the opposite of what it appears to be.
And nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Now, take a breath. All right. So how are you guys doing? Do you feel a little
I could
floatier?
feel that for you.
Face
There's a lot of energy that we were running right there. Everyone, woo, goodness.
Yeah, let us know on the feed kind of how you feel a little different.
Yeah.
And so that would be some of the ways. There's also, who does this belong to?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Does it belong to me, someone else, something else, or is it the Earth's? And if it's the Earth's, just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you finally get into a little bit more playful place. It also helps when other people ask these questions instead of you asking them of yourself, by the way. Oftentimes when you ask it yourself, you don't actually ask the question. You just already conclude the answer. So just some thought around that.
You could also just, make a little, maybe put this little part on replay or make a little loop of it.
Yeah.
And then you'd have, Jeneth's lovely voice asking you those questions, and you can just kind of put it on replay, and it kind of clears
if we
things
want
out.
to, we could create some loop for them. Or
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. Since this is the,
the beginning,
the class,
the beginning of the newest series.
Yeah.
So that would be the first place that I'd start with.
I could feel
when
it.
you're just kind of like,
sorry.
So, and then if it's actually situational, usually the questions are, okay, so what is this really? What can I do with this? And just really look at it. Like, what have I concluded about this? What does this mean about me? What does it mean about them? And just really going through the situation. If one of you wants to process something, I'm happy to process something with you. If
You
have
should raise your hand.
Situational. We can get it.
She's
kind of
fun when she's in that mode. I really, really love it. I would raise your hand.
But I mean, it's simply, even if you're feeling a feeling, like say you're feeling lack, right? You're just like, ugh, I just feel all contracted because last year I lost my job, or that was maybe the situation. So you just feel like this overwhelming kind of sadness, but then there's also this lack and it's just lingering. One of the best questions around that is, how old were you the first time you felt lack? And you can just kind of follow the dots from there, because then you're like, oh my gosh, I was like, 3 years old when our house burned down and we had nothing, and my parents were grasping for everything possible that they could get, right?
Is that true?
No.
Oh.
Making the shit up as I go.
I know you have really cool parents.
and then you can look at it and go, okay, so what does that 3-year-old, and what is that narrative? Because somewhere in your world, like now I finally get to talk about experience that I wanted to call this call.
Yeah.
You have that experience, right? You have that experience of lack. Well, what if that was never even yours to begin with? Like, what if that
it was my mother's? I mean, because a moment came straight into my head. And I'll just be vulnerable with it. Like, we didn't have enough money for a Christmas tree. And again, me being like the optimistic little kid that I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna decorate this ivy plant. And I did, y'all. I did. I got the lights out. I put the bulbs on there, and I decorated that light. And I put some little things in there. I wrapped them up. I was like, we're gonna have something like, and it was amazing. Like I was happy about it, and I was really proud of my little creation, right?
Yeah.
And I could tell, I could feel my mom's like lack, But for me, I was like, look what we have. Like, I was excited about it, but I definitely could pick up on my family's feeling around it.
Yeah, they wish that they would have something different for you.
Yeah. And so they took me over to my grandma's, who had like a nice tree and everything like that. I was like, I think they were just probably, I don't think that they didn't really have the money. I think they're just also being
They
kind of
didn't like spend the
lazy.
money. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, I was going to make the best of it, but I also know that that wasn't mine. And so when I think about it, I feel like I should be sad about it because it's kind of sad. Oh, it is sad. But see how
Well,
that
see,
comes
that
in
is
there?
a synapses
Yes,
that's attached,
right.
and that came from your brain.
Yeah.
And then it created a feeling.
Yes, little leaf.
I know.
But the thing is that look how resourceful I was being. But the thing is
And
that
then you were practicing having.
and then I create a whole narrative around it. So what do I do so what does one do to clear that? Like what does one do in the next steps? I think you were going there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the rehearsal and changing the story, right? And with rehearsal, you can do all kinds of things.
Oh, because if I can just
Because
if I experience it differently, oh my gosh, I had just read about this the other day.
That's what I was wanting to call this when you experience.
Yes, that's right. So keep going because I really want you to get in there, and I don't want anyone to miss this.
Okay. Yeah, are you guys with me? Do you get where I'm going with this? So, like all those narratives that really happened, right? That devastated us, that caused us to have these feelings of lack throughout our entire life. It's all come back to if you had never ever experienced lack, if you had been born of like a Rockefeller, right? If you were a child of Rockefeller and you didn't even understand lack, you would never have lack.
Right.
And that's why a lot of the Nepo kids, is that what they call them? The children of the rich and famous.
Oh, I don't know what that is. If anyone knows,
Yeah,
let me know.
They're called Nepo.
Okay.
And I think that's the name of it. And basically what that means is like they're privileged.
Okay.
It's like Bethany Frankel's child is like,
I just thought they were bougie.
She was like, Mom, what's a Nepo? and Bethany Frankel was like, look in the mirror.
Oh,
it's like those that are kind of created from celebrities and things like
that's
that.
why this is a talk show.
Like the Kardashians children are Nepo.
Okay.
And I think it's an acronym that stands for something.
I'm sure it is. If anyone knows, y'all let
those children, I mean, they're just free to create and they will.
Yeah.
And they are.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the Nepo children, look at Kylie Jenner.
Right.
Like she just like there's nothing in her world that thinks I can't do it all. Look at my sisters in front of me. Look at Kris Jenner. Look at what my dad has done.
Love him or hate him, whatever. But that is kind of the reality of looking at like someone that didn't have lack, so they just go with create.
They just create.
Yeah, I get that.
And I really think that if you've got some of these narratives and we can rehearse in our world a different story around the narrative and change some of the elements of the narratives, we are going to change the entire feeling and frequency, right? Because even just that thought brought up all those feelings inside of you again. And I do think it just takes time. You're laying down in bed and you're thinking, what narrative should I change?
I like that.
What's nagging me now? Or what do I want to create my tomorrow to be? And how can I see myself in it so dynamically with the partners and the friends and the people I love?
All of you on the line.
Right?
Yes.
How can I do that so dynamically that I become it? right?
Mm-hmm.
I become it. And I think, that's the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like to I think there's so many pieces to this
Yes.
because I do also feel like there are pieces where we can drop the brain waves down to those like theta state.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also get glimmers of possibilities from the
Mm-hmm.
field
Mm-hmm.
and what the field is delivering to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's another way to, you know, apple pick.
I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all with us?
Yeah.
Let me know in the chat. I just want to make sure because this, I know it's we're kind of being playful with it, and I am bringing up real life situations, but I also want to be sure that you are right there with it because this is big stuff.
Well, we're trying to invite you to a practice of this with
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do in the lounge, right?
Yeah.
Is to get you to like really talk about this and say, this is bothering me,
Mm-hmm.
or this is what I'm creating. You know, what would be your suggestions to follow the dots, right? To follow the awareness, or this is how I'm currently feeling. How do we clear that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's all about clearing your path so that you can live your best life. So I just really wanted to curate some of these next calls and some of these next topics to get you to practice
Uh-huh.
these tools
Mm-hmm.
that are, I mean, almost like a part of my world these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like pro algorithms,
Yay.
right?
Right.
Because I just
Let's choose them.
because it keeps making me freer and freer and freer. And
the algorithms are going to run regardless, right? Like we're still going to collapse wave function into matter. We're still going to create no matter what. Why don't we be the ones that are the creator, the narrative creator, right? Like why don't we go ahead and give ourselves that like, hey, I'm going to do this and wave my own damn magic wand and have it be the stuff that I would like it to be. Like, in other words, the algorithm is going to run. Let's just be the person that programs it.
Yeah. I mean, literally, these are like brain connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, all you need is a feeling and a symbol, and that creates a neural synapses, right? So let's break them up, some of those, and let's create new neurosynapses.
Okay.
This is how neuroplasticity works. Get so convinced that you are Rockefeller's child.
Oh, wait, that's a stretch for me.
That you could never.
Maybe I do it in playtime.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I could give myself like a little bit of incremental time and just kind of be like, okay, I don't know Lyanca in current form.
Right.
I'm going to be Rockefeller's child for just even for 10 minutes.
I know.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
And then you
I
just
get it.
and it just allows new energies to come
That's
in.
true. That is true.
And then you can have new experiences on your internal. And then you can add a little bit of touch of gratitude to all of that. Wow, what a fun new experience.
The truth is that like I know we're saying all this, but this is actual science. Like
I know that's what's cool about this time and age, right?
Yes. Because I know maybe other people in this line have been through the secret book, or we've been talking about manifestation for like over 12 years or 20 years, whatever those things are. But this time now is so unique in the fact that we now have the data, we now have scientists that are actually showing that this is in fact like the way it really is, right? Like the way that stuff works.
Yeah.
And
so cool.
And now it's really about being, okay, an invitation to ourselves to break those old molds and, to create from that new mindset. And when I look down, it's because stuff like I'm trying to process stuff. So if I'm listening, sometimes you'll see me look down. If I look up, I'm usually like kind of like going into the field with my
that's
thoughts.
how literally with NLP, like if you look up a certain way, you're remembering things, you're recalling.
Sometimes I'm actually going to like get downloads, but if you see me look down, because I kind of feel dorky, but I'm just like staring at the at the desk when she's talking, because I really want to try, like a lot of this stuff sometimes, Jeneth will bring up and she'll tell me, but then she'll be in this conversation and more stuff is coming through and I'm like, so I just wanted to give y'all a heads up.
It's so funny. I really like want this year, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to really be able to, change everything like in a way.
I want people to be able to receive this. Like
And I think it'd be really fun if we'd have groups that practice
Yeah.
this, that we go together into quantum activations and we work on this together.
Yeah.
I really think that would be a blast.
I
And
really envision.
and maybe it would start with a live event, and then we
Sure.
would.
I envision, lots of people on this call could even become coaches of this work, like, of
Yeah.
this work, right? Like
Specifically
that
this.
we all create together. This is amazing in this community. How cool would that be, right? To continue
Yeah.
to take this work out, and then you have your list of own, people that you work with and in clear and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us on the chat. What are you sensing about this? What, is this
Is this
what does it
resonating?
sound
Gosh,
fun
how
to
did
do
this
some
hour go by?
quantum activations? Does it feel fun to, you know, re, you know, really, really play with the field, really know how to, get like a coherent mind and a coherent heart. Like talk about that in heart math.
Mm-hmm.
When like that is what it takes to get in coherence. And it's so simple to get in coherence. All you have to do is think about something you really, really love. And sometimes it's a little animal or you know, or a child.
Oh,
Mhm.
thanks, Shara. She said, I love that idea. It's time, right? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel it. I know you do. I feel like it's cool. Like,
well,
yes.
and I feel that I've avoided this
Yeah.
too. Or I guess I just didn't like totally drop in and say,
No, I know.
the skeptic in me didn't believe that I could,
We talked
or that it was like mattered. It's like, oh, people meditate to relax. Well, that's okay. I'm already pretty chill. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
no, I get you.
I didn't realize you go there to manifest a better future.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I need to be
Yeah.
working on this.
Yeah.
If nothing else, to regenerate, parts of my health and my
Yeah.
body and become more vibrant and more alive. And
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as we continue this conversation, we're really going to continue opening this conversation, because I feel like this is just the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
I
I
mean,
gather
we
that.
kind
I
of
think
had some
others
really
do.
great conversations before the summit, but now after the summit, I feel like a totally different person.
Valentina says, quantum is the way to go. I feel that. Yes. I
So
know
much.
that, yeah, we can't be the only one. I know that y'all do too. And I think, I mean, I know this is going to grow like so much because this is the time for sure, for sure. And then the other thing that kept coming in my head is that like it compounds, like it snowballs, like it compounds. So like as we reach one, then you reach, it's kind of like the God, I can't even say the scientific term, but the spreading of cells, right? Like the mitosis.
Yeah.
Basically it's it's like the basically the splitting off this
or well, I want to say metamorphosis, but that's not the right word.
basically
Yeah, it's
the
like
compounding effect of
Yeah.
you reach one and that you reach two and then there's four
Yeah,
and then
that duplication.
exactly connect to the powers, right? But basically that this will become the movement really. And there won't be that struggle that we have. It's just really putting these things in practice. And then, like you said, of course, we could show up here and we're actually recording the course for it all,
Yeah.
on this show right now, you get to be part of the live course for it all, right? This is kind of to get better than this. Yeah,
I know.
exciting.
So fun.
Yeah, practice, practice, practice. Thank you,
Yeah.
Valentina.
Well, yeah, and I do think that it's practice. I mean, there's even studies that like you can like grow your pineal gland. I mean, literally, it's only like most people only use it for melatonin and serotonin. Like serotonin is the light that enters your eyes and wakes you up in the morning. That's your pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, when it gets dark, it shuts down and the melatonin starts to create in your body. And
Mm-hmm.
that all happens through the pineal gland.
Okay.
And it also can do all these other things that I should probably know if I'm actually
Well,
going to study this work, but
sure.
it does all these other things. And it, I think it's the one that's even responsible for making a DMT.
And it also is the one that helps to bring more of your clairs, if you
Clairs
wear,
online.
if you wear
Yeah.
your clairs online. And so basically it just helps you tap into more of your intuitive gifts, more of your human, I want to say God-given gifts, right? Like more of those gifts that have been programmed out of us societally to not use.
Yeah.
The ones that we shut down, that we came into this world with and maybe had got it going on when we were kids. Those come online when we use our pineal gland. And it's amazing because I'm working with those now and I can't even, I mean, I just have to write in my gratitude book because some of the stuff that happens in synchronicities, I'm like, cool, like this is crazy. This is so cool. Like we had a moment earlier, and those little things, they are just reaffirmations of this stuff is so, so, so like the way it is.
Mhm.
I know I'm using silly terms, but it, I just wish there was a better way for me to be like,
Yeah, agreed, right?
Mhm.
It seems like there needs to be some more depth to that.
Oh, there's the for all the things I can't describe. Oh, I love that y'all come to play. The pine cone at the Vatican. That's funny. Is that what that says, Vatican?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very magical. And I think now that we know these things via and science supports it, it just helps our brain know, or maybe even our ego, accept that more as the truth for reality
Yeah.
that you create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just review what we talked about today so that you can actually go away with some homework.
Yeah.
So, and maybe the homework should just be this one simple thing. Find that one thought, catch that thought. This is
Okay.
what you can do over the weekend. Catch, be a thought catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find that thing that's like when you're looking at the mirror, or maybe it's not even like a clear thought, but it's just kind of like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or that heavy feeling, and you're like, I don't know why I feel like this.
Yeah.
That's like a stop.
For
And
me, I'm like, I can't do it because of my leg, which has become a kind of convenient excuse sometimes,
Mhm.
but it's still a little been like, come on, that's not even true anymore.
Oh, why?
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just in such a habit of saying, I don't think I can walk that far because of my leg,
So of
or,
course you're going to create
like
it.
the zoo, they're like, let's go to the zoo. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. And maybe that was a good choice for me at that time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I need to go, wait, this leg is healing. Maybe it
Yeah.
needs to move.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to move forward more.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, be talking about your leg in the future 10, like how you envision it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need to do a whole lot more on
Is
that
that a
because
stretch for you? Like you
a
had me.
little. I can tell that it actually is getting better.
Mhm.
Like I'm not just saying that for the certainty.
Mhm.
So it makes me wonder what things are going to be like in a year. Because it is changing,
Mhm.
and it makes me feel like maybe it is related to me moving my life forward
Oh, I
past
know
my
it
dad's
is.
death. I
Yeah.
mean, because that really is when it all went
Yeah.
haywire. And who was that? Who was the one was that Alyssa that
Yeah.
had me tapped?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Lisa Rushton,
Mhm.
I will put out for the weekend all of the videos for you to watch. So make sure that you see that one because
Yeah.
that was it was towards the end of it. It was really freaking cool. Because didn't even know that was inside of me, like devastation. So
Yeah, that it's what a gift the summit has even been to you, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, real time, she was able, and so the next day, I would even tell y'all to watch the next day. What interview was it? I cannot remember off the top of my head, but she talks about her own story and real time has a revelation, knowing that all of these things are then leading back to not having ever grieved her father. This is a woman who's been doing this work and is, right now we're teaching some of these ideas, but even it happens to the best of us, even in the best of our times, right? Like,
Yeah.
even though you know this work, you hadn't even put that together
No.
since, till then.
Yeah.
And right. So then the leg can now have freedom.
Now it has information to move
Oh,
forward.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Do y'all get this?
I know. It's like sometimes you just need to, I mean, and a big part. So the next conversation we should have should really be on, following the awareness,
Mm.
following the energy, following the dots.
I'll bring in some good stuff too.
We'll
for
bring in
that.
a chessboard.
Ooh. And also I'll bring
That's
in
like really what the
Mhm.
visual would be of that,
Mhm.
right? Because it is like, okay, if you go this way, you could get jumped.
Uh-huh. Yes. And I always talk about that. It's how we position ourselves within the field, right? Like if you got your man out here, but you're over here messing around with Mr. Wrong, you're not positioning yourself in the field, right? So he just goes like, right? And that's a really hard case scenario,
Well,
but
really
it's
good.
little
I mean,
things.
that's something I've really worked on, and so have you, to follow the energy.
Mhm.
I mean, it very much is, should we invite this person? Does it feel light?
Yeah.
I mean, that is like, we don't want to go back and talk to somebody who talks about like The Secret in 2007. We're no law of attraction people here. We're way beyond that. Although,
It could be a contribution though.
Yeah.
We don't know
Yeah.
until we meet
To be
that.
honest, the law of attraction is a real thing. I just think sometimes when people actually label it that, it's just a little limited.
Yes. I get what you're saying. I'm teasing when I do that. But and it's because I do have that same feeling about it. Because I know a lot of people on this line are, pretty advanced here, and we're all ready for that, to make those connections that really move us forward.
Yeah. Because it is kind of the same thing.
It is
but
just different ways and the material. And so
but it really has to come down to the energy you become,
Yeah.
that you be.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that was missed in The Secret. I mean, the little boy literally thought, the bike, all I have to do is think bike. And that was more like a wanting energy.
Yeah, we talked about that. We'll
That's
talk
just
about
like,
it again.
so that's not exactly how you ask for it that way. Oh, and remember we had that session on the request being the ask and requesting.
Yep. That's right
that
there.
would kind of fall in here with all this too.
Right. And then also we talked about how prayer is even different now too, right? So like now that we understand how there's a want energy, so almost like a beg, or I would like you to do this, God, da 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 da, right? And instead, the prayer really should be, thank you for the this, and this, all the things that you would like to happen. So Jeneth would be like, thank you so much for my healed leg. Thank you. I'm so excited that my leg feels so
that
much
I can
better.
run a marathon now.
Yes. And so, or something better, right? Always add that, or something greater or better. And I know we're running over a little bit on time, but thank you so much for making some comments. Let's see. Keep it simple, silly. I think that was to the fact that I was like, I'm using simple terms here. Thank you. The kiss. Yeah. Always more forward with everything. Yes. Always move forward.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I saw
so sometimes it feels like a senior in the language, LOA. It doesn't it? It's like, nope. Well, I mean, clearly we are seniors. Which is why we're going to bring in this new energy.
Yes. And yet I still have those silly, childish thoughts, right? Like those juju thoughts that I woke up with, like poking at my face or whatnot. Intellecti says, snowball or sprinkler. And I guess the point was, and yet I still need to stop and be the catcher and use my tools. I mean, it's just an ongoing practice, 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 like Valentina said a little bit earlier, right? Like we are experiencing this for that we can share with more people. I can definitely love to see y'all be the people that take this out. And sometimes I feel like that's funny, the senior, in the language. It's so hard
to do sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah, agreed. And hard might not be the word. Let's
change our word.
Let's try to change the language here.
We'll do it together because I do it all the time. I say the wrong words.
Maybe it does take time, maybe, to create a new habit.
It can take time to create a new habit
in the 3D reality.
In the 3D reality.
But does it really take time in the 5D reality?
Right, because it could be instantaneously, just like those muscles that people
are
were imagining.
So you're like, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna be laying in bed, y'all. Should do my squats in my head.
I'm gonna doing some bicep curls and tricep presses.
Why not? And let's report back.
Yeah.
And that's funny little things to create, but there are other things that we can create in this way. And if it's a stretch, maybe do that exercise like I'll have to do. It's, step out of being Lyanca completely for a second and then put myself as Lyanca into a new vision. As what did you call those kids?
Nepo.
I was going to say something else. Nepo.
Sometimes you can just look at somebody that is either a Nepo or a celebrity or something, and you realize they do have a different mindset. Look at Tom Cruise. Like, he doesn't think like the rest of us.
Well, he's awesome.
Tom Cruise.
Taught to think a little bit different. And part of
Scientology.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still in it or not.
I don't know either. Well, I don't want to put out.
But we're being taught. We're inviting you to think differently.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You think he was brainwashed to be the last movie star.
I'm not going to comment on that. But there are people, even authors, even published authors or children of, distinguished, educated, professors, if you will, right? And they immediately, their children will start to work on books, will start to work on works of art and music and stuff like that. Like they are immediately, that's going to be their vocation, their thing. And they're automatically just starting to create. They're like, okay, well, I remember I was sitting down with some young kids and they were like, oh, what foundations are y'all working on? And I was like, and this was, they were obviously really well off. And I mean, I was younger at the time and I thought, I don't know, but that's just how they were raised to create things and to their mind already went to how can I benefit? How can I help? And I thought, wow.
Like philanthropy.
Correct. So
well, my head's kind of in that lately.
Yeah, of course.
It's not, it's probably not as much as it would be if I had, millions of dollars coming in.
Right.
Of course, companies like that, are just like, I have all this abundance. Let's give back.
Yeah. Yes.
To create something that's really going to change. Remember when I found that TikToker that was giving money to these poor people to help them go to Disney World?
Yeah. And recorded, of course, but
he did record it.
Content.
Oh my gosh, it was just so touching that he would get donations to give to these people. And some of these people had worked on the construction within Disney
and had never been.
And what couldn't go because they couldn't afford a ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
If you look at it, but then, there's so much tears of joy that happens when you see these people going out and, he's like, here, I'm going to hire you for the day. Your job today is to enjoy Disney World.
And they're like, what?
And they're like, what? what, we don't understand.
Mostly a lot of
What do you want us to like look at something or
Yeah.
take pictures?
Yeah,
Or, you know,
yeah, I love.
just enjoy it. And it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
I just think it's so cool when people really create that way,
yeah,
like based on helping the world and helping others, because not only did they help those workers, but they inspired people
uh-huh.
watching that
Yes,
video.
yes, they did.
It's like
Yes,
phenomenal. I just think it's
yes,
so cool.
yeah. And so there's
Yeah, and
lots
that's
of
where their heads are at.
yeah,
You know, his is like, let's just do this and see what happens. I've got this big channel and
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, and
that's cool.
isn't that cool? Like, there's different ways in which we can also open our hearts
Mhm.
and to reach those places of how we want to create in this world. And if it's not, I mean, sometimes it could be even a stretch where some people are thinking, like, I don't have money to donate. Okay, well, then maybe a way in which you change your, you know, your outcome or your anything, right? Just changing your vibration would be to go and serve food at the soup kitchen.
Mhm.
Because studies show that when you're in volunteer, like volunteers genuinely have more happiness and gratitude in their lives. And at the end of their life, when they were, kind of talking about on their deathbed as an older person, I don't know about anybody else, but in their deathbed and older people, they recounted the times of joy as when they were doing things like volunteer work, being with others. And these things are quantifiably able to show how you can create a whole new life when you when you raise your vibration. So basically, not only are you helping people, but you're creating a new life for yourself, because then you have stepped out and created a new neural pathway.
Yeah.
You raise your vibration, right?
Yeah.
And that's just from doing maybe a volunteer at a soup kitchen.
Yeah.
So just different ways. We're just throwing out a couple of different ideas, but yeah.
When I did my first summit, and along with it, Darius and I did a kindness,
Yeah.
a kindness,
Pay it forward.
pay it forward kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And that was real big at that time too.
My daughter and I went and brought donuts to people at the fire
I
station.
love that.
We got to, hop on the fire truck. I put pictures of that. And, when we just kept finding things to do, gave money to a homeless person.
I love that.
And we made some little care packages, and it was just, and it does feel good to give.
And some of those things to volunteer at the soup kitchen doesn't require that you make the monetary donation. That's just maybe your work time, or maybe you can't leave your house and you can make little things like that and have somebody take it to one of the elders nursing
Yeah, I
homes.
mean, I think
The
one
things
of the
like
things
that,
I liked doing
cards.
when I was in Girl Scouts was going to the retirement home and just talking to the old people.
Yes.
Because that it just brings joy to them.
Yes.
Especially when there's little girls.
Yes. And so it's like Valentina says, volunteer work is actually for yourself. It feels good to you. The bonus is what you are giving. Yes. For others.
Yeah.
Yes. But again, now we see through science that this can recreate your life. It can change things. It raises your vibration. Like, we're just offering other ideas for this too.
Yeah.
That maybe if sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch. It can be sometimes a stretch to just be like, I want to do something for myself, or I can go into this, make believe world. And maybe that might be a stretch. So in a way to like change everything would be just to drive yourself down to do a volunteer something, right?
Well, fun. So next Tuesday, you're going to have just us again, and we're going to be talking about following the energy.
Yes. And then we have a couple of speakers.
Still changing the subconscious mind.
Yeah. And then
then we've got Latina.
Yep. Then we got Latina. She'll be joining us and talking about she really works with the whales.
Lemurian whales.
And so they have they have messages for us. And so that's super interesting to receive those. And, how can humanity really work with these energies in order to have ourselves heal, have the earth heal? So that's going to be really fun. And then I've got some other, we've got some encores
coming up.
We also we do have some encores coming up. And then also, I know that you're going to want to do some vacation time.
Yeah.
So you'll get to do some Akashic readings with me. We'll walk through how to do the pathway prayer process. I'll teach you how to do that. So again, this is going to be a lot of building upon each other. This is the class that we are actually working with you through on these Tuesdays and Thursdays, and each one's going to build on each other. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
thrilled.
So again, tell me in the chat, what is your homework for this weekend? Let's see who wins. I send them a $10 gift card too. First person that enters it in the chat right now. Nice.
I love y'all.
Catching the crap. Very nice.
Like it, like it, like it.
All right.
And I would even say take it to a step further and do a little bit of journaling. I love pen to paper.
Yeah.
Just 2 things you're grateful for. That's it.
Yeah. Well, let's and I would love if you'd come with your crap. And we can unpack it, and we can unpack it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like just, one of the thoughts that you notice that's just like annoyingly repeating. And is it even yours?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the big.
Or if you're having a body ailment, note, maybe just jot down, okay, what side is it on? Is it my armpit, my hand, those kinds of things? And is it, we're trying to find what those awarenesses are, those little messages that are kind of poking you or pinging you to get your attention. Those have messages for you. So I'll help bring some information in about how to decode some of that as well.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, I will put the replay out shortly, and we'll figure out how to really do the live stream.
Yeah, and then message us on Instagram as well, and we'll still be there doing. So Jeneth said she was getting a $10 gift card.
I'm giving it to
Shara. I love that. Well, for those who are listening on replay, I'll give a $10 gift card to those who can.
Who say what their homework is this weekend.
Okay, yes.
Let's make it that specific and see how that goes.
Can say what their homework is this weekend. All right, big hugs to you. Join us on Tuesday.
Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.